So, a Bible verse that's been coming to me recently is Nehemiah 6:3. It reads, "So I sent messengers to them saying, I'm doing a great work, and I cannot come down. Why should the work stop while I leave it and come down to you?" Now, the background for this verse is that Nehemiah was a cupbearer to the king of Persia, and he heard about the returned Jews to the city of Jerusalem, and he heard that the city walls still were not rebuilt, and that the people there were basically defenseless. And it really troubled Nehemiah. And it troubled him so much that the king noticed, and he asked Nehemiah, "What's the matter?" And Nehemiah told him, and then the king commissioned Nehemiah to rebuild the walls of Jerusalem. And if there's anything that I would call a calling, like that is something that's words that get used, but a calling that one might have to do something, I think that what you find in Nehemiah is a really good definition of the calling. First, Nehemiah feels it within himself. He feels it so deeply that it's affecting him outwardly. And then he's given the means and the opportunity to accomplish the thing that troubles him within himself. And so there's the combination of the feeling of there's something that I need to be doing or something that needs to be done, and then the opportunity and the means by which to do that. Well, here's a letter from the king, here's money, here's the ability to go do that. So the confluence of those two things, the feeling within yourself that something needs to be done, and then the ability to do it, is I think the best way to think about a calling. And so Nehemiah had a calling to go and rebuild the walls of Jerusalem. But there were a lot of things that, even though he had that calling, even though he was given the means to do it, there were a lot of things that prevented him from doing that. And one of the roadblocks were some of these other people, political leaders of other cities and regions within the Persian Empire surrounding Jerusalem, that did not want Jerusalem to become a walled city, to become like another political player in, their little, political games that they played around there. Like, they didn't want somebody else to come in and mess up whatever they had. And so they tried to prevent Nehemiah from rebuilding the walls, from doing the thing that he knew he should be doing and that he was given the opportunity to do. And they did various things. They sent letters to the king of Persia. They acted like they were going to attack the city of Jerusalem before they had rebuilt the walls. And another thing that they tried to do is that they sent a message to Nehemiah saying, "Hey, let's get together and let's talk about this. Like, let's hash things out." And it's to that Nehemiah sends the response. "So I sent messengers to them saying, I am doing a great work and I can't come down. Why should the work stop while I leave it and come down to you?" And at first glance, you might say, well, that's rude, Nehemiah. These guys just want to talk. They want to hash it out. They want to figure things out. And you're just saying, no, I'm not going to talk to people. I'm not going to hammer out differences of opinions and all this other stuff. And maybe that's one way of thinking about that. But Nehemiah knew that their intentions were not to actually talk. But in the previous verse, in verse 2, it says that they were planning to harm me or to kill me or to assassinate me. So their plan was to get Nehemiah away from the city of Jerusalem, the safety of Jerusalem, and get him into some other place on the pretense of talking, so that they could inhibit him in one way or the other, maybe possibly by killing him, so that they would prevent the walls from being built. And Nehemiah uh, basically deftly politically responds to that by not letting them know that he knows that he's onto their game or something along those lines. Instead, he just responds to them, "I'm doing a great work and I can't come." And um and that's something that I've really needed to remind myself about, because there are certain things in my life that I feel called to do and that I have the opportunity to do. And but I let myself get distracted. I let myself come down from that work and get embroiled in other things. And um and that language that Nehemiah uses, "I am doing a great work and I cannot come down." Coming down, that's such an interesting phrase that he uses. Obviously, he's in the city of Jerusalem. It's a city on a hill, and so there's a physical coming down, but there's also this aspect of Nehemiah is not going to come down to the level of these other people who want him to stop. And for us, whether it's a person or people that are trying to distract us, or it's thoughts, or it's things that just get in the way, we allow ourselves to come down from the great thing that we were called to do. And that just that simple recognition that, no, what I'm doing is great and I can't come down. I can't allow myself to come down to your level. I can't embroil myself in your petty little things that and whether it's a person or whether it's a thing or whether it's an inerrant thought, it's all the same. It's things that are trying to distract you, things that are trying to bring you down and trying to stop you. And Nehemiah says, "Why should the work stop while I leave it and come down to you?" And really, that's what happens when we allow people or thoughts or things or events to get in the way of the thing that we're really called to do. It makes us stop. It prevents us from accomplishing the thing that we were called to do. So I think about this verse a lot because it recenters me. It reminds me that I have things that I need to do and that they are great things. And I need to pay attention and I need to focus on those things. And I cannot come down. It's not that I shouldn't come down. It's not that, oh, I'll come down for a little bit and then I'll get back to work. I cannot come down. Why should the work stop while I leave it and come down to you? And I hope that maybe that will encourage you to do the great work that you're called to do, and that verse might be helpful to you as you do your great work. Don't come down. Just keep working.